Alright, and they're off. So yes, we're going to be seeing this cutscene painting, both in Japanese. Essentially, the paintings are just saying, wow, Luigi, you made it here. They're basically just trying to scare you and just saying, oh, can you survive in here? Because I don't think you can. And then that's when the first ghost spawns. Already off the bat, GeneralPacman seems to be having a pretty optimal Area 1. He's getting the twirl suck-ups in. Who knows, maybe he'll even get like a 545 for the first area. Yeah, there seems to be just a tad bit of freezing on GeneralPacman's side. Hopefully it'll be worked through. Alright, so we got Giga got the first double in the anteroom. Alright, so you're noticing that you'd figure, why doesn't Giga get the double here for the first one in the wardrobe room? And that's because when he gets it in a certain order in singles, from the one for the right and then the one from the left, that second double that you just saw spawns faster. So that's why we do it like that. We used to do it through the doubles, but then it was found out later that it was faster to do singles like that. But it has to be done in that order. Giga leaving the wardrobe room at 2:30. Not bad, not bad. Unfortunately, Pac-Man still lost in the realm. Pretty alright Neville for Giga. GeneralPacman's back again, and about time too. Everyone's favorite screaming ghost baby, Chauncey. Alright, so because you just hit him with the ball, now he's upset, so we're going to go into the first boss fight here, which is actually in his crib in some other kind of dimension. Fun fact about this background here, it's this background's actually used from an image from an old GameCube model where you can see a little slot on the top for the disc. Just figured I'd throw that out there. Alright, so with Chauncey, you can actually get him in 2 cycles. For some of the bosses, mainly the second and third boss, you can get them in 1 cycle, but the first and fourth boss, you get them in 2 cycles. There is no known way currently to get Chauncey in the first cycle, or just in 1 cycle. So pretty much what you saw them do right there is they stood in a very specific spot, and then pulled back at the right time so they could actually get the ball away into the vacuum. So now here they're going to potentially take damage from this rocking horse, and by doing that they'll have invisibility frames. They're going to knock on the wall here just to store it a little bit longer, so they can actually grab the ball, and oh my god, Giga just actually went out of bounds, which is very unfortunate, but it can happen. And I think GeneralPacman's getting him in 2 cycle. Yep, he does. Alright, 6-14, nice. So yes, by having invincibility frames, instead of getting hit by the ball, you can actually catch it. Oh my, Giga's went out of bounds for a 2nd time. Oh, that is, I'm not sure if I've seen that before, going out of bounds twice. This is very, very unfortunate, which will put GeneralPacman ahead by quite a bit. Giga's not having a good time right now, man. Not even bothering to go for that setup anymore. Completely understandable, though. Alright, got him at 6:57. Like I said, I don't think I've ever seen the ball going out of bounds twice. Chauncey could be using AR or Gecko codes, I don't know. Alright, so now we're going into Area 2, and this is where I personally like to say the run actually starts, because when you're like me, you play this game a lot, and you reset a lot in Area 1 because you're just not happy with some little mistakes that you make. But here's where everything starts to happen. You get more RNG, actually, for the first time in the run. So yeah, Pac-Man's just putting his flashlight up towards the ceiling so we won't get scared by any of the ceiling surprise ghosts. And he gets them in a double by going to the bathroom. You can actually Alright, 1 second. So by being grabbed by one of the grabber ghosts, you can actually shake him off and put him towards the other one so you can get a double. Some other things like this happen throughout the rest of the run. Giga is also trying to not get the ceiling ghost surprise ghost to scare him. I apologize for my English failing. Yeah, we're making the best of it, as best as we can. As far as the whole Pac-Man stream goes. Alright, so Pac-Man's in the ballroom right now. He's getting the Shy Guys in doubles because they're so close together, so they can just suck off both of their masks and then just get them in a double right there. In Taz, or Tool Assisted Speedrun rather, it was theorized that you could actually get all 6 of them in like a sextuple kind of combo, but it's not actually faster to do it like that, especially in an RTA setting. Alright, so here's the floating Rolindas. I'm not sure, I think Pac-Man might have got earlier release, so... Alright, Giga did not get early release, so that might put Pac-Man ahead by 10 seconds. I wasn't quite sure, but I have a feeling that's what happened. So pretty much those floating Rolindas can show their heart 10 seconds earlier, so that's another 10-second time save. But in a race, that could also put someone ahead of the other for no reason. You can't actually manipulate that. a while ago, I was theorizing with a fellow runner named Sir Nimbus, who's no longer running this game, apparently. We theorized that by doing certain movement, you could actually maximize the RNG potentially, but that's not actually a thing. That was just some kind of theory that was never proved to be true. So yeah, Giga just got the poster skip by putting his vacuum through the ceiling and tapping down on the C-stick slightly, so that it can go slightly up on the vacuum. So that saves a few more seconds. I do believe Pac-Man got early release, yes. Alright, so now we release the booze, and the booze can give us a bit more trouble because that's also RNG. So pretty much, the booze can be in each room that's lit up. And when you clear other dark rooms, then, you know, they get lit up, and then the boos are in there as well. So, the boos can hide in any or certain objects in a room. And that can be, like, you know, just a couple objects or something to, like, depends on how many there are. Like, in the armory room, for instance, in Area 4, you can actually, like, there's a lot of knights in there, so you can actually check each and every one of them. It might be there, but the radar definitely helps in this setting. So yeah, it just depends. Sometimes when you're looking for a boo, he can also switch to another object. So like, let's say if you're on one side of the room and you check, and he can go on the other side for no reason, making you lose more time for no reason. Pac-Man looks like he can get the setup for tech skip right here, but he accidentally pulls off all the tablecloth, which is unfortunate. Giga's might be in the table, or that might be a decoy. So pretty much, yeah, is the decoy. So in each room, there's alongside a boo, there's also a decoy, so it can like mislead you to get the boo, but instead you actually get like a bomb or a boo ball. Those are the only two decoys that are currently actually a thing. And yes, thank you, Minnie. Our pumping is also a thing. The way they get the boos here, instead of just dragging them around like you would normally in a casual playthrough, they're actually keeping them in place. So a while back, this dude, I can't remember his name, from 2012, found that if you could hold the L button and hold the R button every 10 HP, then after 10 HP, let go, and then repress it quickly, and then hold on for another 10 HP, you could actually keep him in place. But the Atazar Coopery, a year later, actually perfected the idea, and therefore the R pumping method was put into place, which is a lot more helpful because with the boo's nature, it can actually go out to a dark hallway, and you cannot suck up a boo in a dark hallway. So he can end up like going into some other room, which can make you lose even more time, which was a struggle for runners back, I think, probably around 2012 and earlier. The idea wasn't actually like properly distributed throughout everyone else throughout the community until Coopery found it. Giga got a bit lucky. The boo was on the right side chairs. He can either be in there, the painting, or the left side chairs. Obviously, the left side being the slowest. Yeah, another thing about boos, you can actually get them down to 0 HP, and they can go into a dark hallway. But so pretty much, when you're talking about boo in the dark hallway, 1 HP will go down like every second or so, so it's a very slow. But if it's 0 HP, it'll just immediately dip. You can actually not, no matter what you try, you cannot get him into your vacuum in a dark hallway. Alright, so now we're going to be going to the mirror room, and we are going to get the first element medal, which can give us more powers for the vacuum. Because yes, this vacuum is actually doing more than just sucking up things. So there are 3 element medals that you can get throughout the game, and 2 of them are actually conveniently in Area 2. So we're going to be getting the fire one. They're just getting the doubles right now for these grabber ghosts. And just like in the bathroom, they're grabbing onto one, letting one of them grab onto them so they can shake it off towards the other one so they can get a double easier. Alright, so now Giga's spawning the Boo, and he's going to open the chest. So what he's going to attempt to do is get the Boo, and as soon as he sucks up the Boo, he's going to get the Fire Element Medal, which he did right there. So now what he can do is he can actually save the game and reset and go back to the save file, which actually saves more time because when you normally get the Fire Element Medal, EGAD will call you and will give more text, so you'll have to mash through that text, which is slower, and then you'll also have to get out of the room by spraying fire on those candles to unlock the spike door. Not only does it help with being faster, but also the butler in the hallway, which you might have seen some floating candles float by. So pretty much, when you do this, it will always be certain that he will be towards the beginning of the hallway as long as you do the candles in the fortune teller room perfectly fine. So right here, we're going to get it pretty much towards the right side of the hallway. However, with the old strat, with not doing save warping, unfortunately, GeneralPacman, I don't know if he actually got save warping, but he can get what was I gonna say? All right, let me rethink that for a second. So yeah, it's faster, generally. Oh yeah, but with the old strat, without getting save warping, he could always be on he could either be on the right side if you're lucky, or he could be all the way on the left side, or even in the middle of the hallway. So it makes you lose more time throughout. Alright, so Giga seems to be having a bit of trouble, I guess. He didn't actually get the double like he wanted to. But he still managed to pull it off. However, he did not clear the room, so when he goes back in, it will be a dark room again. He'll have to suck up the last two ghosts. Or just one ghost at 0 HP, never mind. Alright, so now he clears the laundry room. So optimally, what you could have done there is cleared the laundry room and get the hat just as soon as the cutscene starts to show you the chest, which makes you not walk. You can actually not walk throughout the cutscene, which is like a couple seconds or around there. And in doing so, you can just skip the cutscene completely. And so what Giga did right there is a Japanese-only glitch to where he can actually suck up the Boo in the mouse hole, like vortex or something, and in doing so, he can skip some more EGAD text. This is only available on the Japanese version, however, because they patched that in the US and PAL versions. That's the only form of text skip that's actually Japanese only. The rest of them... So pretty much, when you're sucking up a Boo, right after you suck up a Boo, if you suck up something like a cloth, it will register that the last thing that was sucked up into your vacuum was a cloth, so it will skip the event where EGAD calls you completely. Alright, so GeneralPacman managed to find the Boo on the right side, however, Giga's was giving him some trouble. Sometimes when you start vacuuming in that area, and after it gets like the first one, after you find the first one, either being the Boo or the decoy. Mostly, if you find the decoy, then you get to check the left side, but sometimes it can actually fool you to where it's actually on the right side, which is a somewhat common mistake for runners. Giga opting to go for that harp for the first instrument. So now you're activating all these instruments so they can play the Super Mario Brothers theme, to which you will spawn this pianist named Melody Pianissima. who will play you a song, and she can play either one of two songs, the underwater theme from Super Mario Bros. Or the athletic theme from Super Mario Bros. 3. The water theme being like a third of a second faster or something. So it's slightly faster, and he got all those sheet music for it. So he got the water, and so did GeneralPacman, so that's cool. So they didn't lose a third of a second. There also, fun fact, there used to be a third option, which was the Totaka's theme song. Because if you recall, I believe it's Kazumi Totaka is his name. He worked on some of the games from Nintendo, this one being included, but he also worked on, like, you know, the Animal Crossing series, which this game is actually inspired pretty much directly off of. It's based off of the Animal Crossing engine, which in turn is also actually based off of the Ocarina of Time engine for the 64. I actually never knew about this until recently, but I don't know, I feel like it's really cool. The fact that they have an engine from Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and then they built Animal Crossing off of that, they built LM off of that. But yes, as I was saying, Kazumi Totaka, he leaves a certain song, a certain melody, I think it's 19 notes melody, and the first one I believe that the first appearance of that song was in Mario Paint for the Super Nintendo. But yeah, pretty much it was found out later that that was scrapped, that was an unused element, and they ended up using it in the controls screen again for Training Room. Alright, so they got the water element medal, which is the second element out of 3, and they're both, the first two are obviously, as you see, both in Area 2. So now they're getting this dog Spooky. So the reason why they just let him bite him is pretty much Spooky will try to attack you like 3 or 4 times, and if you let him just dodge you all the time, he'll go back to his doghouse. After the 3rd time, though, he will, this skeleton named Mr. Bones will appear, and in doing so, after you suck up Mr. Bones, one of his bones will fly off, and then Spooky will go to lick it, because, you know, dogs like bones. But, if he were to just let him go, dodge him all the time, Spooky would have gone back to his doghouse, which would be slower, so they end up having him shake off, or bite him and then shake him off real quick, so they can get the skeleton, so then they can get Spooky to lick the bone right away. So now we're coming up to the second boss, Bogmire, and this one is actually, it can give some new runners a bit of a hard time. So pretty much, unless if you know what you're doing, you might not get 2 cycle, but for the most part, or I'm sorry, 1 cycle rather. 1 cycle is the minimum amount that you'd want to get Bogmire in. So pretty much, sometimes what can happen is Bogmire can start pulling you, so when you do that, you hold in the opposite direction of where Bogmire is pulling you. So let's say if he's pulling you down, you hold up until Luigi gets control of Bogmire. Or sometimes he can just give you full control, and that's when you just start tapping every 10 HP, like you would with any other ghost. So unfortunately, Giga's getting 2 cycle here. I'm not sure what GeneralPacman's getting. I can only assume that GeneralPacman got a 2 cycle, but I'm not positive on that. So yeah, now we're going to Area 3, and this area, this is where, you know, some other newer runners can also have a hard time in areas 3 and 4 mainly. Some of them have a hard time in area 2, but it just depends. So for this one, we're going to learn of Mario's unfortunate, not demise, but his unfortunate circumstance that he's put into.
Mario.
So yeah, so there are certain spike doors as you're just seeing, and I also think we forgot to mention this yesterday, but after you get a boss, after you complete a boss and you get its key, you can unlock a certain spike door with that force field thing going on around it. And pretty much from there you can actually just go to the next area. So now we're going to be learning, at the bottom of a well, we're going to be learning of Mario's unfortunate circumstance. He's been put into a painting, which is... I always got a bit, like, freaked out about this when I was a kid. Especially considering the fact that Luigi's trying to struggle to save him, but he can't actually say anything. I think it's also because he learns that King Boo's also in the room, so he doesn't want to, like, spook him or anything and just try to kill him, I guess. I'm not sure. Alright, so yes, now we're going to get the Mario's letter. So there are 5 items in the game. There's Mario's hat, which you saw we got in the laundry room. Mario's letter, star, shoe, and glove. Now, what do these 5 items have to do with anything? So pretty much, even though Mario's fully clothed, he does all of his items, he still has like an extra hat and an extra shoe, an extra glove around the mansion. But what this does is it'll help us later in Area 3, just before the 3rd boss actually. It will help us find out what's happened to Mario and why it's happened. And who's behind this. Now we're in the tea room, and we're going to be getting the 3rd and final element of the game, the ice element. And right off the bat, it'll already help you. Actually, I think, never mind, actually, come to think of it, it'll help you right off the bat for all 3 of them, but pretty much. For this one, it'll help you with the one of the first Portugals you come into contact with after getting the ice element. And there's also a boo in here, so we're going to have to get that. Now, sometimes some of these tablecloths can give you a bit of trouble. Especially if you suck up the boo near the tablecloth. Sometimes when you're holding on to it, it will focus less on the boo and more towards the tablecloth. Especially when it gets to 0 HP and your vacuum is on a tablecloth, it can make the boo escape at 0 HP. You can save him sometimes, and other times he'll just go in like Nana's room or the hallway. I'm pretty sure it's mainly Nana's room, though, that he'll go into. Alright, so yeah, here's our first use of the ice element. Petunia, who's in the shower. The eternal shower, because I guess they're ghosts, so they do whatever they were doing at the time of their death or something. They were doing whatever they like to do. Eternally. And so yeah, you saw that Giga sprayed some ice, and Petunia's outside the bathtub. That can happen if she breaks off and you just spawn, or you just spray the ice in there. For some reason, Petunia will just be outside of the tub. In midair at that, too. So yeah, and here's Nana. Nana's balls can actually give you a bit of a hard time sometimes, because if you run into them, Luigi will just like get pushed back a little bit. It won't hurt him, but pretty much it'll annoy you, especially if you're trying to get them all. You're just basically throwing Nana's balls at her. Yeah, I know that was pretty immature of me with that little snicker there. I do apologize, but I mean, someone had to do it, so. So yeah, also if you notice that because you have ice and you're art pumping on that boo, whenever you art pump, you're always letting a little bit of the element out of whatever you have, or just dust if you don't have an element. But because he has the ice element, when you spray a boo with ice, it'll stay in place for a while. This hint will also help you out for later on, for the third boss. So the Astral Hall, the funny thing about that room actually is if you go in there before lighting off the candles, if you go in there, the door on the right side will actually loop you to the other door where you first entered the room. Only until you actually light the candles, that's when the satanic ritual, I guess, will start. And that's when some more ghosts will be spawned. So I guess General Pac-Man's boo was on the right side for Nana's room. Also, another thing about Nana, sometimes you could either, when you suck up Nana, you could either bring her to the left side of the room with that one wheel thing. I think it's almost like a spinning Jenny. I'm not positive though about that. It's like, I think it's got something to do with yarn, but pretty much you can bring him to the left. You can bring her to the left side, and the boo might be in there, or your best bet would actually be to bring Nana to the right side of the room, and the boo might be, because there's two objects right there already. There's the, I want to say like an ironing board or something, but it's metal, or an anvil or something, and the drawers. So it could be right there on the right side, or in the table. So you could either, most likely the boo might be on the right side because there's more objects there for it to hide instead of just one on the left, but there will be those times where you bring her to the right side and it'll be on the left. Sewing machine? Yeah, it might be. Also, yeah, you just saw a moonshot right there. I forgot to explain it because I was busy explaining about the whole boo thing with Nana. So yeah, pretty much you blow up a 2D moon, and it's actually just a 2D sprite. When you're in Dolphin and you use the free look tool, you can actually see that it's just a sprite. But pretty much you're blowing up the moon for like no good reason because the moon's somehow in the mansion. And you get Mario's third item from there. Oh hey, and we'll see General Pac-Man going to do the moonshot now. Meanwhile, Giga's... I apologize for my voice crack. Giga's in the... what's this room again? The projector room. For some reason I forgot that. I know most of the rooms pretty much by heart. For some reason I had a hard time remembering that though. Giga's getting 4 out of 5 Mario items now. He will have had 4 out of 5 items. And you'll notice that even though this room is dark and there's a portrait ghost, Slim Bankshot, the pool player, or the billiards player, whatever you like to prefer calling it, there are certain portrait ghosts that you don't actually need to get. They're optional. So, yeah. So now we're doing some more backtracking. We're in Area 1 right now, and you'll remember this. This is where Neville was in his study. And we're getting boos here because... So, pretty much, certain keys will have to make you backtrack to earlier places. Like, for instance, in order to unlock the twins room, which is in this hallway, you have to suck up you have to suck up Petunia. Petunia's key will bring you to there. Wait, no, I do apologize. No, that was a faulty memory error. It was actually Nana's key that brings you there because it's like the grandmother and the grandsons. And then for some reason, Petunia has a thing for some bank shot. I'm not really positive as to why that's a thing, but I guess it might be some kind of inside joke on Nintendo's part. So now we're in the twins' room, and they want to play a game of hide and seek. And there's 5 boxes in the room. They can be hiding. Since there's 2 twins, they're each hiding in 2 of the 5 boxes. And normally, when you're casually playing through that, you might have got right, like I did. I just guessed and got lucky with it. But when you read up on Neville's, because this game has a lot more detail into it, they put a lot more like thought and love into the game. They put a lot more text that most overlook by scanning certain objects and interacting with other objects. So for instance, in Neville's study, there are books on the wall, and by hitting certain parts of the wall with books, you'll end up reading one of Neville's books. And one of them actually explains the fact that basically the twins, you can gather from that the twins have a fear of either the elements or wind. So pretty much you can just use your vacuum to kind of cheat your way through the game. Also, another thing about the twins, it was accidentally discovered, I believe, a while back in 2013 by Boohead. I believe he was the first one to find out. I'm not positive, though, but I believe Boohead was the first one to find out that if you get one of the twins to clip through, somehow one of them can clip through out of bounds with the globe in the top left corner of the room. And in doing so, it'll count as you sucking it up. So it's been replicated a couple other times by me and Snap32. I have not been able to do that recently. I tried an emulator, but unfortunately it's not working. So Giga's gonna... Okay, he got the tech skip on the bed sheet. That's another example of where you can do the tech skip at, with certain things like a cloth or, this time, a bed sheet. So now Giga will be going into the fortune teller room, and we're going to be talking to Madame Clairvoyant, who will be telling us about the future, and pretty much she'll be telling us about each of the 5 more items we bring her. And so each time we bring her one of the items, she'll give off a different, she'll give us more information basically about what's happened to Mario and why and who's behind it all. And this is about 1.5 minutes of mashing. It's a bit longer. It's a bit longer on US and PAL though because of English text. Although I believe for PAL Hidden Mention they run on the French language, so I'm not sure how that goes with all of that. But pretty much the English version is the worst because it's a tad longer, and especially if you mash your text like I do here, your arms can start to hurt after a while. I take little breaks where you can, like if you're not talking to Clairvoyant directly, or there's like not text box, pretty much just like that hasn't popped up yet. So pretty much the Japanese version in total saves around 20 seconds, I believe. And that includes the Clairvoyant. Yeah, that includes Clairvoyant text and the exclusive Japanese, the Japanese exclusive boost text skip in the mouse hole that we saw in Area 2. Well, you don't want to mash too slow. Generally, we don't like mash. We try to kind of mash our herd out because the game. I guess the game. It actually. Pretty much. I can't think of the words right now. This is terrible. I've been talking for so long. All right. But yeah, the text goes by faster when you do. And that boo can also give you some trouble, especially if you try to go to spawn the boo first and then open the chest to get the key. He can go into the mirror room again, which will make you lose more time. So now General Pac-Man will be going to do clairvoyant text mashing. Meanwhile, Giga is going to be heading up onto the Safari room. So we're going to climb up to the third boss here, actually. Just before this room, of course. And yeah, pretty much with this, you just move around some deer heads and then it'll spawn the ghosts. And this is one of the first examples in the game of elemental ghosts, where if you have certain elements, you can counteract with the other element in the elemental ghost. Actually, no, I believe the first one was in the fridge in Area 2 in the kitchen. Oh, and Giga got that RNG double, which is actually quite lucky. They could either be, like, right next to each other or on the other side of the room, apart from each other. But, however, with the wardrobe ghost, you can easily push them, so if you can manage to pull that off, it might not matter if you get the RNG double. First one in the hidden room. Oh, I completely forgot about that, actually. Thanks, Minnie, for the refresher. Alright, so we're going to come to the third boss here right now. We come to this ring of boos, and they're basically calling Luigi a scaredy cat, and oh look, you finally made it, so we're just gonna assemble into a form. And yeah, the boos just formed into this one giant boo named Boolossus, which has a total of 15 boos in it. So after you defeat this boss, you'll get 15 more boos, which will definitely help. So with this route, you'll end up having only 4 boos to catch left throughout Area 4, because there are 50 boos throughout the mansion, but in any percent out of bounds, or just no out of bounds, I do apologize, now it's just no out of bounds. In no out of bounds, you only need 40. In the PAL version, Hidden Mansion, you need 45. And also another thing about PAL, with Boolossus, in the Hidden Mansion, Luigi will start riding his vacuum cleaner, his Poltergust 3000, and I believe that might be possibly where they got the inspiration to do, to have Luigi's Poltergust as a playable, or as a cart in Mario Kart DS. Giga's moving around a little bit, which, especially considering he's closer to the boos, it will not give him a chance to attack. So when you start off Boolossus, you can easily just spray the ice, and they'll just be fine with it. But after there's like, you know, a few left, they'll start running away from the ice. So what you have to do is wait for them to attack you, and then spray the ice so you can get them. Oh, he just let out an ice ball, unfortunately. Which, 2 ice balls. Just is a bit slower, because he can't actually get the proper spray. Okay, he got it, nice. So that was a 2 cycle right there, I believe. I believe that was a 2 cycle. I was just talking so much that I didn't really notice. Oh, it's also General Pac-Man's went further down, but he doesn't realize, unfortunately. So he's gonna wait for another one to spawn, which is a bit slower. Yes, it's definitely a lot faster if you 1 cycle. That's mainly what most of the runners going to go for. Oh, General Pac-Man had a bit of a rough time with the ice ball, or the ice, so that's going to make him... That first cycle was, unfortunately... I don't think he really caught any of the boos, so... Unfortunately, that does not help him at all. Yeah, that's also a real slap in the face for anyone who played this casually. The fact that we just can get this in that as low as one cycle compared to playing this. Oh my god, it's, it's terrible. I remember when I was right around when I first got this game. Really, I was trying to play it, and it was terrible. I was pulling the hair out of my scalp trying to do it. Alright, so now is the last area, Area 4. And because we got the key from the Colossus, it'll help us unlock one of the last doors that have the spike and force field around it. Now with this, what's going to happen afterwards is we're going to go into a blackout phase, so we're going to have to go back to the beginning of the game. Not the beginning of the game necessarily, but like as far as the mansion layout goes, we're going to have to be going back to the wardrobe room.
Mario.
So Giga switched to the sidestep mode because it's a lot easier. Some top runners, I think like Blue Hits, has attempted to do no sidestep throughout this blackout, but pretty much when you have your vacuum, or when you have your flashlight pointed towards where a ghost would spawn, it doesn't actually spawn. So that would save time as Luigi wouldn't get his scared animation, especially if you were to have, let's just say if you were to still be on standard, like the standard mode for walking, you will get scared by every one of these ghosts here in the balcony, which be so much slower. So we pretty much try to dodge any scares by doing this. So we're going up to this this portrait ghost named Uncle Grimly, and what can happen is it can be as fast as going into the room and then his heart shows, which unfortunately Giga did not get, or pretty much you have to wait for this guy to show his heart randomly by just facing away from him. Sometimes you can go into the room and he'll instantly show his heart, otherwise known as the Instagrim. It's really just what we call in the community. It's not anything, you know, any proper name or anything, but pretty much it can be as fast as going right into the room and he's showing his heart, or the longest known time for Grimly to show his heart is 40 seconds, and that world record is held by Blue Hits, who's also the world record holder, coincidentally. And so now we can just easily turn the lights back on by flipping a switch in the breaker room.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, lightning on the top of the roof right there. As we're seeing an instant replay pretty much of what I'm talking about right now. Lightning on top of the roof will cause mention the blackout, so you just flip the breaker and then it's all good again. I guess it kind of makes sense, considering the fact that it's like a power surge or whatever. I just never heard of lightning hitting the top of a house, let alone a mansion.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he lost his world record? Really? I was not aware of that. So apparently, I've been informed now that the world record for the longest Grimly ever known to man is 47 seconds. Interesting. You'll also notice that the boos in Area 4 will generally have higher HP most of the time. Of course, because it's the last area, it's got to be like one of the hardest, if not the hardest. General Pac-Man not getting Instagram as well. Not sure how long his is. We'll pretty much just say we already know that he has to wait for it, so hopefully he doesn't have to wait too long.
Mario. Mario.
Also, yeah, shout out to the Western poster in this room. I'm gonna say that every time, because like that poster is so random, but it's cool.
Mario.
All right, anyways, so now we're in the attic, so we're gonna get these toy soldiers here. What you can do is you can actually get a double on these toy soldiers. It's a bit hard to pull off, but if you can do it, if you know what you're doing, you can manage it. Sometimes, though, the toy soldiers can break off, so it might work, it might not, but you're pretty much taking a bit of a risk if you're doing double. Oh, so I just noticed that Giga actually has no fire, so we had to refill up on this little campfire here. That guy's just casually just camping on top of a roof, just having a little like ritual dance or whatever. Oh, and if you just noticed, Giga, he started falling down, and sometimes when you hit the ground from like a good height, Luigi will stumble a little bit. But sometimes when you either shoot a fireball or you hold your vacuum in, you can actually skip that slight little animation. Oh yes, for some reason also, I just remembered about that. Because I'm reading chat. For some reason, and I'm not sure if this happens just in every US version or if it's just mine, but for some reason, sometimes the doors, the double doors to bring you up to the elevator, to go up to the roof in that room, sometimes it'll be pushed back. And sometimes you can push them back. It's really random, I guess. Oh, I just realized. Oof, that's kind of rough for Giga. He went to. Oh, that's even worse. So the Armory Boo, because he has 150 HP. So pretty much, I don't know if you guys remember this, but if you don't, when you're R pumping, this boo does a cackle every time you R pump, and each boo has 15 cackles. So you pretty much, especially if it's 150 HP, you have to make each cackle count. So sometimes if the boo gets a bit further away, or he's too high up, or you just pump a bit faster, he can escape. And he went into the hallway and then went right to the telephone room. Because he was in the hallway right next to the armor room, at best he would have gone back into the armor room just so he wouldn't lose as much time as if he did in if they were to go into, like, the telephone room. Alright, so you notice that Giga in the pipe room, he actually didn't complete that room. It would have just been slower. With the old route that we used to do, we used to complete the pipe room and then get the boo in there. And that boo in there is 300 HP, but that's the slowest boo ever. So that's like the only boo that has 300 HP that you can actually one cycle. So it's just fast enough to complete that. And with Sir Weston can give you a bit of trouble. So as you just saw right there, Giga had Sir Weston break off, unfortunately. You can get him in one cycle though, but like I said, it's a bit odd to do sometimes. Once you've had enough experience though, most of the time you should be good, but there's still those times where you might slip up. So Giga got an extra double cackle, which is unfortunate because he might go out of the room. Okay, so he could have actually made a one cycle right there if he just followed him. Oh, also, nice. Both boos have 6 on the same screen. So now I guess he's just gonna wait for this boo to come back to him. So normally he could have save warp, but I'm pretty sure that at this point save warping is a bit slower, but he's gonna do it anyway, which is fine. But if the boo goes into if he goes into that cellar room there, it would have just been faster for him to just suck up the sand piles and just walk out to go up to this to go up to area 4 again, or the attic. We're in area 4. So we're coming up now to the last portrait ghost in the mansion. The last portrait ghost known as Van Gore, who created all of the general normal ghosts as opposed to the portrait ghosts. He didn't create, like, Neville, Liga, Chauncey, Bogmire, Biff, all that. He didn't create all of them, but he created all of these other ghosts, like the gold ghost, the purple puncher, which I personally think is pink, but whatever. So on and so forth. And when you're here now, there's gonna be 3 of each ghost that will spawn, and once you suck up those 3, then another 3 will spawn from the other painting, and you have to keep doing that. Once you get them all down, though, Van Gore will just show his heart because he's upset that you got rid of all his paintings. So far, Giga seems to be doing pretty well in this. And GeneralPacman, I think he struggled a little bit with West in there, but now he's going to get the key, and I believe the boo. Alright, so Giga pretty much had a perfect Vanguard room. He got all the triples, which is really nice to see. And so now Vanguard is upset in French because he's a French painter, so if you play the English version, you'll see there they give it like his accent in the text. So now we have the key to unlock King Boo's door, and we almost have the amount of boos that we need. So pretty much, when you go to King Boo's door, he's gonna say that you need like at least 40 boos or something. Essentially, you need 40 boos. So if you go there before then, they'll give you a cutscene where he'll come out in front of the door and start talking and be like, "Wait, you're not Mario. Mario's in the painting. You're Luigi." And then like he'll talk to you about like, "Oh, you need more boos," and then he'll send you back to the lobby. Oh, and Giga could have had a 2-cycle there. That was looking pretty promising, but he had a couple more double cackles there, unfortunately, which is not going to put him at a 3-cycle. Now he has the amount of boos he needs, so now he can just save warp and go back to the lobby, and then go to the final fight.
Mario.
Yeah, I know, another 6 HP. That's really something. There's some things that happened in this race that I don't think I've ever like seen before, like the Chauncey ball going out of bounds twice for the 2nd cycle.
Mario.
GeneralPacman's currently working on the Vanguard Ghost right now.
Mario.
Yeah, his internet, GeneralPacman's internet, just seems to be not cooperating properly. I noticed he was having problems before the stream, and I tried to help him out with it by lowering the bitrate, but still, unfortunately, he's still having these problems. And I was thinking maybe it's a server issue, but I'm not positive on that. I don't know what server he's streaming on. So here's the final boss, King Boo. Now we're just going to watch King Boo just spin around for a little bit, then going into the painting, and we're going to get sucked into that painting, and that's the setting for the final fight, is the fact that it's all coming together. It's the last final stretch, and oh, Giga's accidentally hit the wrong key, and he reset his timer, unfortunately. We will know soon, though, because of SRL. We'll know what time they got, pretty much. If need be, I guess, if someone wanted to, they could probably retime this and then highlighted it, but yeah. So yes, this is the final boss, and you can get him down in as low as 2 cycles. Sometimes he might go a bit higher though, so he won't cooperate properly, so you'll end up getting a 3-cycle. Giga seems to be going a little bit high up, but now it's kind of in the middle right now. He could get a 2-cycle. 260. Oh, 269 is not looking too promising. So generally, what you would want for a 1st cycle, in order to get a 2-cycle, you'd want at least like around a 250 at most, like around a 250 something, almost 260, to as low as 230 something. I believe the lowest possible cycle is 225 7 or something like that. So he's going to opt to go for a fast 3 cycle now because it's more than likely he won't be able to get the 2 cycle. So because he just got, the reason why he got, he let go at a little over 200 HP, so when you suck up King Boo and he's under 200 HP, he'll go back into Bowser, but Bowser will pull his head backwards and start running around the roof, which is a bit slower, and time for Giga. So we'll know soon through SRL what his time was, but good job for Giga. He's been moving on to round 2. And Giga will be facing Blue Hit, so that would be an interesting match. So now, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what Giga will get for his, or well, GeneralPacman will get for his time. So yes, enjoy the background music, as Tyre says in the chat. Okay, he's back. GeneralPacman's video is working right now, so that's cool. So hopefully we'll actually be able to see what kind of a fight he's going to be getting. I believe Giga got either a high 104 or a low 105. That's a general range as to what he did get. Or it'll just be a mystery. That's fine too. Nah, we'll know soon. 105.50. Okay, so Giga got a 105.55 through IRC timing. So good job. It's actually not too bad considering that his PB is on 104. And this was a bit of an upset, as GeneralPacman has a 103. So I believe GeneralPacman's going to go for a fast 3 cycle here. Might have been a bit longer than that, so it might be a 4 cycle, but I'm not positive. I'm pretty sure it's a fast 3 cycle that he's going for. Oh, so that's going to be yeah, it's going to be a 4 cycle now, definitely. And he completes it with a 1. Actually, coming from this, it's a 108.47, but GeneralPacman says it's a 108.49. I'm assuming that's through IRC timing, so good job to him. I know he had a bit of a rough match today. We still pulled out through, so. So he'll be going up against a loser of match 31, which is either, can I be one of 3 things, Joven 3, Luki Mumu, or Andy the Burb, as of right now, through the seeding. But good job to both runners, you did well.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, this was a fun race. Shout out to Simple Flips, by the way. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching this race. I have been your host, Glitch PhD. And yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.